Look, Don't Touch is brilliant. This is the fifth episode of the first season of Everybody Loves Raymond. This is directed by Meyer, and there are three moments in this that I laughed out loud at. There will be spoilers from this point on as I go into quite a bit of detail about the episode, and I will, of course, mention the bits that made me laugh out loud, but they were all, I think, within the last 5 minutes of the episode. That's not to say it wasn't funny before that, but I do feel like most of the comedy was concentrated in the last kind of 5 minutes. The episode focuses on a new waitress at Nemo's, played by Tina Arning. It's a character called Angelina, and Ray leaves his wallet accidentally at Nemo's, so Angelina, obviously finding his number in the wallet, phones up, and Debra then obviously learns about Angelina, and Ray is sweating, he's flustered, he's basically trying to not give it away that he, like everybody else there, finds Angelina attractive. And Debra keeps prodding, and she keeps basically trying to get him to say that she's attractive, which I have to say is a dangerous game to play. You can't really keep demanding somebody tells you somebody is attractive and then go in a mood when things don't go your way. So Debra was maybe a little bit at fault here. And the bit that I found, this isn't the bit that I laughed out loud at, but I did really enjoy it, where Debra says, "What are you afraid of?" And then without missing a beat, she starts aggressively grating the cheese next to Ray. Unfortunately, the cheese did go everywhere, but I found that to be really interesting because Angelina grates a lot of cheese. There's this kind of running joke that the guys in Nemo's will all order extra Parmesan because they want Angelina to lean over them and grate cheese. So to have Debra standing next to Raymond aggressively grating this block of cheese, I thought was a really interesting concept. And Debra goes into a bit of a mood, not because Raymond found her attractive, but because Debra basically set him up to say something she didn't like. So I don't really believe that Raymond was at fault with what he said, but nevertheless, he does feel guilty about it, and he goes down to Nemo's again. And this time, Frank goes with him, and it's not that often that we see Frank or Marie outside of either of their houses, so it's quite nice to have Frank in a different environment, and I really like the comedy that brought. And then Marie starts to stick her nose in and tells Debra to put hemorrhoid cream on her wrinkles. And then Robert and Frank are at their house, and all of a sudden Debra decides, let's go to Nemo's as a family. Debra, Raymond, and the children, and off they go. And again, with the children, we don't normally see them in locations outside of the houses, so it's quite nice to have them in a different environment. Now, by this point, I think we're over halfway through the episode, and to be honest, not much has happened. It's not the most varied episode. It's enjoyable, and I liked it, but I think maybe because of the lack of variety, that's possibly why I didn't find it hilariously funny till towards the end, because there wasn't... Most of it is basically just Ray and Debra speaking and talking about Angelina, or Ray and somebody else talking about Angelina, so we don't have too much variety, so there's not that much variety for comedy. But I still enjoyed it up until this point, but once we got to Nemo's with the whole family, Raymond, Debra, and the kids, there was one moment that I did not see coming. I didn't remember this from when I've been used to binge watch this show, and I'm glad I didn't remember because, well, it kind of took me by surprise. And this is, of course, the moment where Ray is holding the tray and he turns around and accidentally dumps the tray, including all of the milk, on Debra. And it's just perfect. The timing is perfect. The milk splashing back is just, it's the perfect amount. And it was just so funny. And as I said, I didn't remember it. It was really unexpected. And the look on Debra's face was just priceless. After that, there's not much else. We are basically wrapping up the episode at this point. It definitely doesn't have too much variety to it. It's a pretty straightforward narrative. And the last two bits that I found to be particularly funny, the first one is when Raymond and Debra are in bed, and Raymond puts a band around his head and it kind of pings up. I didn't find that as funny as the milk, but I rather liked it. And then the final scene, the final bit we see is Robert in Nemo's. And basically everybody but Marie has been to Nemo's now. And Angelina is grating the cheese, the Parmesan, and it's just this giant mound of cheese, and it's just brilliant. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. So a really good episode, very funny. Debra was perhaps not behaving her best because she definitely was the cause of the trouble. If she'd just left it as is, things would have been fine. But I still loved her in this, of course, and Patricia Heaton gave a great performance, and Ray Romano did a great job as Raymond, of course, and definitely Frank in Nemo's was a highlight as well, something a little bit different. Great episode, might not be the most varied, might not be the most laugh out loud funny until the last kind of 5 minutes, but I still really thoroughly enjoyed it.